Calvin T. Mann, leading EMIY, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIY TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Sitting here getting something on my stomach. Welcome to EMIY TV. Y'all know, it's chicken. So, today, we open up the lines early, 313-266-2811. We're going to get into this conversation about this violence, why you're seeing so much of it, and why you're blind to what's really going on. And the falsification of social media can blind you because we're not really paying attention to real life. We're not really getting the job done. We spend too much time with they and not enough time with we. We got a lot going on, and our children are acting out everywhere. Now, before I say that, this is the effect of policy. Policy has had its way of doing things. Policy and racism has had its way of ignoring things, participating in things. Policy, and racism across the board is playing a significant role. With that being said, in the work that has been done in my life during my lifetime, incarceration is not something that has happened. With my boys, being locked up, we had one situation, and the young man was locked up simply because I didn't get to finish a job. See, a lot of people don't understand me because I am different. I don't necessarily have to have all the shiny things that comes with your praise or anything like that. For years, I was never acknowledged at all. No one ever said anything. I mean, I can go all the way back to, before a house flood, I still had what my 7th grade girls basketball team gave me on construction paper as a gift. And the one plaque that I got, I still had that until there was a flood in my basement. And so I didn't have any of that. No one, when I was coaching, it wasn't for me. If it was for me, I would have went on to do certain things and did certain things. It wasn't for me. I had a different vision for a kid. I had a different process for a young person. And with that being said, the process, for some strange reason, this is not going the way I need it. Hold on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Right? And so, welcome to Instagram. So, when we started Good Fathers Only, it was different because Good Fathers Only was not your typical, we're going to do this about dads. It was to help fathers. It was for fathers to work together. But lately we've seen the violence, right, in the city. We've seen a lot of violence in the city, across the country. It's not just Detroit, so y'all can come up off that. Oakland County, you got problems. Y'all can come up off that. Macomb County, you got problems. Y'all want the money, but y'all want to incarcerate the problem. You don't want to fix it. And so across the board, we're seeing throughout the country a number of violence. So I'm going to go to the beginning. But before I go to the beginning, I want to go through some things. First of all, how you doing, Monique? Hope you're feeling good. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Heather is busy today. She's taking care of some business as she made sure I had some chicken because I hadn't eaten, really. And so I'm glad for that, right? Nothing like a good wife. Nothing whatsoever. So with that being said, I decided that, today was that day. If you want to call in, you can call 313-266-2811. If you want to join in this conversation, I don't care where you're from. I don't care who you are. We can have this conversation, and we can have it big time. But here's what I want to set the stage for. 1, missing children. Black girls, 40,000, over 40,000 black girls are missing. I really hate to think who's involved with this. And it breaks my heart because I champion us men being better. But I can only feel in my gut that there are more men behind this human trafficking, kidnapping, all across this country. And that breaks my heart. And so it's one reason why I try to get deeper in the situation. Yesterday I learned juveniles. In juvenile detention center, there are 3 boys to a pod. Some of y'all would call a cell. I'm calling it a pod because I worked in the industry for a second, and it was a pod, right? So inside the pod is these little cells. I'd rather leave it at pod because that's a bad memory for me because I saw why prevention was more important. And some of you guys that was involved with and working these facilities ought to be ashamed of yourself for getting the joy off of putting your hands on these boys instead of teaching them and loving them and showing them a different way. That was my experience, which is why I came out, because I pushed the needle, and a lot of people don't like for you to push the needle. People like for you to come in, kiss their butt, and do these things and do those things. I'm not from that era. I'm not from that stint. I wasn't raised that way. My mama had one eye with diabetes and was helping people get into senior citizen homes before she passed away. So that's where I get it from. It's going down. But the missing children, black girls missing, over 40,000. That's astronomical. That blows me away. To learn about that again has been very emotional for me. Just like when I learned about suicide, boys and suicide, 5 to 11, no one was there. So boys and suicide, this is another thing that's impacting the community, right? So when you see this, you got to go someplace. That's another one of those things. It's juvenile, right? Then let's look at the guns. We know for sure in communities all across this country, we have a black market gun problem. We know that. On record, they sold over 33 million guns in this country. There is a black market of gun distribution in this country, and the target and the participation is usually toward the gangs within the cultures of these communities. Gangs include skinheads. Gangs include militias. Gangs include police officer. Gangs include Bloods and Crips. Gangs include. These are areas where gangs are across the board. People like to play the racism game. We're not playing that today. Today is all about the clarity. We all have problems, and these things are occurring in all cultures. So we can clear that, point your finger at the black person or the black people just as the problem. You've been pointing your policies this way. You pointed your removal of tax dollars this way. You make sure you took away education this way, right? So don't sit back on your chair or up in your glass house pointing your finger at something you know you voted in place ways to make happen. So let's get off the whole racial, that whole thing, right? Let's talk about the parenting. Across the board, we know that parenting is broken. Now, you can say what you want to say. We know since the 60s, we have been under attack in this country through policies and everything else when it comes to fatherhood. Black fathers was first. That's how they always have done things. The government has always experimented. They start with you first, then they go across the board. Meanwhile, they hand you racism, patriotism, they hand you these things to keep you divided. But here's the thing. Nothing is more important than your family. And when you take a man's family away from him, you can turn him violent because you're exposing his children. For those who are healthy fathers, those who want to be fathers in their kids' life, not these guys or these people that are abusive. We need help in so many areas because we are reaping what we have done to other countries. So your education is almost in the middle or toward the bottom. Why? Who attacks education? What party has consistently attacked education? Well, we know who that is. What party continuously, what are these parties that continuously put in band-aids? We understand that there's a division and a difference, but across the board, no one is exempt. And what we're seeing today, from the kids running around downtown shooting all the way across the board, you participated. Even if it was with your voting populace, you helped see what you have seen in this violence, because that in itself is an issue. When we get into violence, violence is what people like to describe as normal just because it's when it's culturally black on black, white on white. We love to play. You know, I'm so sick of that damn game. Like, we gonna play this game till the detriment, and then you have cultures coming in, and today I'm this, but tomorrow I'm when I put on my piece of paper, I'm white, right? But you came in under this society. This is who you were. You came in as this, but in order to remove your category because you had the skin, you chose white on the taxes in the application. And we're open. Racism is open to accepting other cultures into their culture to have these things be what we call normal, right? But we are not going to, what we're not going to do, what we're not going to accept, because I understand myself, what we're not going to do is sit back and go, look at these people, and just point the finger at the black culture whom you have been attacking through policy, deeds, jobs, action, banks, everything, and then act like it's their problem when you've participated in it. So that's the first thing. So we're not going to bring racism to this table. I've addressed it. If you call or say anything to me about racism, I am going to rip you a new one. So that's off the table. So you can't use that. So you can't say with this, because policy, when we look at policy, and you get into policy, policy has highly affected the community. Every time you knocked on a door, there was a denial. If you knock on another door, there's privilege. There's a difference between being denied and there's a privilege. And then the policy across the board has been effective in this work. So we got that off the chest. Now, what do we do when it comes to preventing? Right? Because we seem to think and have this thing that on my way to prevent, that I got to have a bag. On my way to prevent, I got to look socially a certain way. On my way to prevent, I have to, buy some fashion. All of that. On my way to prevent, because you're not in the preventive mindset, you are participating. So I just want to be clear when I'm saying this, because when we get to the solutions of this, right, because at the very core of everything that we have seen, a lot of people ain't gonna like those, but it's fatherhood. You attack the father. You've been doing that. That's just at the word basic core. The father is the seed carrier. He carries the seed. He plants the seed, the child is born. The father, right, is very, very important, right? But when we take him away, we give a million excuses because of policy. Oh, you can make it. The government is playing daddy, right? You know, parent parte. We decide that because it was so many slaves having mixed babies, that we're going to come up with a policy in the 1800s, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to follow that policy all the way down until we turn it into child support, right, where you can no longer hide. Policy is where the destruction was at. But when we talk about fathers in the family and then the focus, you have two different economies. And I've talked about this before. Her economy she spends is education. She gets educated, you see? And so because she gets educated, the daughter, she gets educated. She's strong. Education shifted. So there is not a whole lot of play in the school where the boy needs to be educated. The boy has to have physical activity for his mental. So we took that away and we inserted ADHD. Your participation in the system is feeding the pipeline. So if you're a man and you know you have a child, you got to fight to work with that person to make sure that the child gets your essence. Because if the child doesn't get fathering, here comes that pipeline. It's no question. If the child doesn't get coaching from a man, boys get male coaching, here comes that pipeline. Now, some of these male coaches can do a better job on not trying to hit the mamas. You know what I mean? Because if you mess with me, we don't fraternize. You can't fraternize with the mama. The mothers are emotional about their sons, so you can't fraternize. But we seem to have a problem, right, with this situation where we think that these things are okay, and we got an underlying issue, and we're constantly repeating this thing. The other thing, and I really can touch on this, but the fact that the culture hasn't grown, all you got to do is look into your buy-in at abortion. You bought in abortion. You also bought into because the absent father creates more rapists. The absent father creates more rapists than anything. The absent father creates more domestic violence than anything. So when we remove the father, as we were attacking the father, moving the father from the family and the public and the whole nine, here's what we have done. And then we buy into, like for me to see a brother and listen, I don't have no problem. The politics is part of the American scheme. It's part of the American scheme. But when I see a brother over there talking about abortion and he's a Republican, and you ignore the fact that they uneducated, they attacked every educated. When I see just that, right, just from the essence of what has come from them, right, regardless to if I'm independent or not, but just what comes from them, I want no part of that, right? But to see a brother over there, and then you talk about abortion, like who was this abortion for, right? So when you get into these categories, these are all the symptoms and the things that make up this violence that you're seeing. So it's not that the kid woke up or the young boy woke up today and he just decided at 18 that, we gonna shoot up Greek. The Greek, it's not that the boy woke up at 16 and decided he gonna get in the car and just do a drive-by. It's not that a boy woke up yesterday and decided he was gonna hold a mass shooting, go to school. It's not decided that a man decided to go into a school just yesterday. These are things that they are planning. The system want to call them criminals, but we don't want to do no preventive work to prevent them, because who's benefiting from these guys going to prison? Who's benefiting? Instead of repairing and preventing, what we're doing is we're playing the game. Well, where's the participation? Why you can't keep these things away? Why is parenting so bad? So let's look at the foster care. All right, over 30,000, 40,000 gonna age out of foster care. right? Where you at? When you get in foster care, my family's been in foster care since the 70s. My sisters, my aunts, my uncles, we've been in foster care, adoption, all of that. So when we talk about foster care, when you look at these areas, why are so many black children in the foster care, right, system? Why is that, right? Why do we have the perpetration that, I'm such a good parent that our children are overloaded in the juvenile system? I don't know if we really, if you don't mind take a bite of this chicken, but I don't know if people really want to have this conversation. And I get it. One day, it'll play to the right audience and the right people in there. See that we've always been on prevention. I didn't just wake up yesterday just to design a program just to get a check. It's not what we did. It's not what we did. I didn't say, when I started doing this work, I didn't just get up, say, it's 2004. I'm going to lay shirts with kids was getting killed. And one thing led to another, and now you got this nonprofit. And so what you going to do with this nonprofit? Well, when you go to people, you say nonprofit. Yeah. So where are these boys going? So when I was working at the juvie, and I saw they was picking these babies up to fill up the beds, now we got an issue where the beds is automatically being filled up. Even in the morgues, there's black boys, black bodies down there, uncovered, unpicked up, the whole nine. But we want to act like, no, it's just they. You see, we want to play that they game. I come from the we game. We all matter. I come from the we game. These babies dying. You know what I mean? And we got to go through. Sorry about that. I had to have some. I'm hungry. Right? So, but we got to go through. As soon as you say, hey, we got to go see about, these kids, or let's prevent from happening. I get a text message from one of the fathers that we do a presentation in Southfield. The father say, you made an announcement you was going out. So I was just at Durfee the other day. What I see come across my timeline, 14-year-old stabbed at Durfee. The boys ran out of school, 5 boys. 14 years old, right? We back to that, huh? Why? No one wants to take accountability that we as a culture are poorly parenting. We are not helping or bringing and speaking inclusion in the family. For a check, I will say I raised these kids by myself. No, you can't see them. I will talk technical mumbo jumbo so you can't see him, but you don't realize that to that boy, because you didn't raise the girl, but to that boy, I am the important. Who are we seeing, right, across this country in mass shootings, drive-by shootings, stabbings, bombings, violence? Who is it? It's males, white, black, Hispanic, Greek, Arabic, don't matter. They vilify black people with the camera. But you know that. But privilege make you go, when you're sitting with your white friends, and I got plenty of them, your privilege make you go, man, look at them. Yeah, but one of them just fell out and OD. We got to get up out of this. We cannot at all fix this issue with racism and victimhood. You can't. We can't. My man just said it. At any point in time, there are over 500 fathers in prison. I say 500,000 potential fathers. Right? Because they didn't know. You've been under attack so long, they didn't know. Listen, the black boy, not the black boy, the white boy, the whole nine. They on opioids. They on ADHD medicine. They come out of ADHD medicine. They go to school. Let's say they go to the daycare. They kicked out. As soon as they show any kind of aggression, anything that they do, we don't even know how to talk to them. Just like we don't know how to talk to a man. So you've been practicing. I don't know how to talk to a man since you've been talking to these boys. You kick them out of daycare. You kick them out of first grade. You kick them out, and they on these meds. Y'all go out here and be like, this my son. You punch him in the chest. The statistics on women and violence to their son is astronomical. It's not an attack on women. These are true facts that is happening within the lives of boys. You are assisting men and women in creating the criminals that you see and fear. Period. So, what time we at, Monique? I'm on a... We got one more minute.
4:30.
Okay, we at 4:30. So, I got that off my chest. I really want to address the suicide. But suicide, boys 5 to 11, number one. Men, suicide 5 to 80, 5 to 100 are number one. Males are taking their lives every minute of the day. We're losing males hand over fist. Not only are they retreating, they're committing suicide. They're dying by opioid use. They're ODing from crack. They're ODing from heroin. They opioids. You got Narcan cases all over the place, right? You have girls and women trying to commit suicide, twice as many as men. Men execute more. We've been dealing with this epidemic on the quiet side. They say it's only the number 10 way. So let's scroll over to heart failure. That's the number one way for a man to die is heart failure. Why is his heart bad? Why is men dying from heart failure? Why is that number one for a woman as well? Because we're trying to do things individually and not together. The society shows us on who and what we're going to praise more than other. So men, what do they sit back and say? They don't want to talk. Right? These are things that must happen. So I'm going to scroll on over. I'm going to roll on over. And I'm going to start this segment with one of my favorite quotes God gave me on this journey. I remember the day. Was out and I was in the car. And there was a murder over there off of Davidson, 1 block off of Davidson, and I was in the car, and my boy had called me. He said, Cal, man, did you just see that? This is early 2008, 2009. It's a murder. It's 1 block south of Davidson, right? So I pull up over there, and as I pull up over there, I get out, and I got the shirts. But on my way over, I say to my man, I say, man, this is crazy. He said, what, Cal? I say, mama looking for daddy. Daddy looking for mama. The kids need them both. And all they get is drama. You see what I'm saying? So what it is now is the kids need them both, and all they're left with is trauma. Right? And so... And laying the shirt there, I'll never forget it, because they caught the guy in the township where I was from at the hotel where he tried to set the house on fire after killing 4 people. Right? And so when I pulled back over to the house, the shirts is gone. Right? But the message got out here. Right? And I'm saying that here's how we get into fixing, repairing, right, and helping assist. We start at the very core of order. F comes before M. So father, mother. That is the beginning. Between those two comes life. We must value those two. What we did not do was value the father, because they told us, they, meaning people, the system, the whole nine, We constantly inbred into our children that one was more valuable than the other, basically out of circumstances. But that father and that mother together, kids need both, is very important. So when a father is there, in 1993, they put on Time magazine, 95% of what's wrong today in society comes from the absence of fathers. Absence of fathers doesn't mean that he walked away. Absent father doesn't mean that he didn't want his kid. Absence of father, fathers die by heart attacks. Fathers die by gun violence. Fathers die by suicide. Fathers die by cancer. Fathers die by, right? So it didn't say that the father, the absence, right? These are the things that play into it. So, but here's the one thing that they didn't get. So we're going to keep it at the basis of Superman. The mother delivers the child. The father plants the seed. The mother manifests the child. Now, can't have one without the other. But here comes the child. When the father's involved with the mother during the pregnancy, infant mortality is on the low. We literally move the father away, so infant mortality goes up. When we look at the statistics around those things, how important does the father become? The father begins to prepare the child for the world. Fathers don't baby talk. These are the things that our children need inside of the home. Not the player, not the pimp, not the whore, not the prostitute. We need healthy parenting in the home. How do you get there? You begin to value the importance of working together in order for the child to have two people on the same page so they do not manipulate the situation. So that's the beginning of restoring. Yesterday we had Family Day. Right? Brought the families in. I'm telling you, my team is amazing. The family day that they put together yesterday was absolutely amazing. So families had to go through processes to work together. They went from different stations. They went through different things to work together. That is how it's supposed to be. But one of the most beautiful parts of yesterday was there was a bunch of noise in the gym going on. And you can hear babies, you can hear children, you can hear fathers, you can hear mothers. It was the most beautiful sound of harmony taking place naturally. It was happening naturally. And so you cannot expect, because that's what the division was for. But in there, they worked together. Even one mother was out buying pizza, and one of the families pulled her son in and took him around with them. We don't need the system. We don't need to be in the pipeline. We need to be looking out for each other. Property value is damaged when you had trash on your property. When you got a car parked in front of your house, property damage. We need to understand these values of what we bring to the table, and not just the getting of high and always turning up and the party scene, and we gonna drink cognac and sit on the porch, right? Great story. A friend of mine, I was pulling up over to the house. This is a great story. I pulled up over the house one night, and when I got out the car, they was on the porch getting it in. Right? So I was like, oh yeah. When I get out the car, my man said, hey, what's up, Mr. Man? I said, what's happening? I said, who two little boys is this? He was like, oh, it's mine. So I walked up on the porch. I said, that's what's up. Okay, so y'all having a good time? He was like, yeah. I said, because y'all sitting here, I still can take y'all kids. And they said, no way. I said, you're not showing them no love when you're turning up like this. You're not spending no time with them. You're spending time with yourself. You're spending your time on some foolishness. You're not spending time with them. They right here in front of the house. I was that little boy that was in front of the house. We had neighbors sit on the porch and watch us. They wasn't necessarily turned up, smoking the weed at the same time and drinking the what's the name. They might have had, my man, Sonny Man, might have had a beer, but it's on the floor. You can't see it. You see, Sonny Man would sit out and watch us and talk to us, gave us all nicknames, right? So in that process, I said, let's make a bet. They said, all right, bet. So I just went out and started playing catch with the little boys, Monique, right while they was there. I'm playing catch for them. And as we playing catch, I'm like, who the best? And we doing our thing and the whole nine. So one catch the ball, I say, great catch, right? I use the encouragement piece. Yeah, great catch. That's a good job, man. Come on, let's do it again, right? So now we knee deep in it, 10 minutes. I say, come on, let's go to the store. Both of y'all did good. I want to get y'all something. They walked right to my car, opened up the door, and they was about to get in my car, and I stopped them. And they looking at me. I said, go ask your parents if I can get you something. Now they mouth open. They went to putting the cups down, the whole nine. I said, don't take long. Wow. Because this is what you're not doing. You're not teaching and playing with me. You turning up. You feel like that this is something you got to do. You got a problem. But once I showed them, you see, now it was like, oh, okay. So the kids, I just gave them $1 out of my pocket. But my point to them was delivered wholesomely. You live right across the street. At the same time that y'all turning up in the midday, you could be spending with your kid. You could, when your kids go to bed, you can turn up then, right? You ain't got to turn up while your kids out there because your kids need you to be teaching them. So that was another parenting lesson, that story that went down. My man, he laughed. Mr. Man, don't do it, Mr. Man, because he knew he know how I get out, right? When I see boys, and I see boys and they not protected, or I got an issue. I got a real issue because these boys who are being manipulated into a lot of things. So here's another solution. Reading. Reading is life. They said the literacy in Wayne County alone is over 60-some% across the board. They said some silly number, because I ain't really got up real deep into it, but they said they had a silly number, like 67% of the people in the city of Detroit was illiterate. Like, again, remember the word I said, they. There's some very intelligent people in the city. You know what I mean? We're very, very smart. We're very articulate. They do some great things. Some very smart people in this city, right? But they have to go through Hell to get what they need, and it makes them. It throws us off because you got to go through all this stuff just to get a little bit. It's like you got to ask for permission to be oppressed by your own people. So, I got to raise my hand and say, here, hey, my brother, I need you to oppress me. Don't share the information. I need you to be the one to oppress me. I'm just coming to you so you can oppress me. Because you act like the oppressor, because you think that you can't help because of where you've allowed racism to impact your life. See? So, sharing, but reading is life. This is the second place you must go. When a child comes home, you must shut everything off and spend time with reading with them. You have to improve their reading. You have to. You have to. We have to. I have to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just where it's at. Reading allows them to go places mentally. They're able to soar and fly. I don't necessarily put a bunch of the struggle on them. I want you to know that you can fly. Here's some motivation. Here's some great stories. Here's some things. But I don't need you to hand me, slave 101 for me to realize I'm in a struggle. Show me how to get over it so when I do come back and read this stuff, I know how to handle it. There's a book for everybody out there. There's a book called Humanity Archive. You have to get the book. You have to get that book. Humanity Archive is a very powerful. The young brother put together a great book, and I'm finding myself not able to Like, I want to read it again because it was so much powerful information and research that was done by this young man that it should be in every home. Jermaine Walker is his name. My team, we're reaching out. I want to bring the brother to the D because Humanity Archives enlightens you in a way that it moves you to prevent. See, the whole county, all of Wayne County should be on prevention from the womb to the college. That's where we're supposed to be. I don't know, Monique. I'm telling you, if you want to prevent violence, you got to go to the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
You can't start in the middle and work your way back. You got to go at the start. You got to prevent it. You got to push on what's coming up behind. We keep giving our sons and children and our daughters, we putting our babies in harm's way. Our daughters are in jeopardy. Yeah. If 40,000 black girls have come up missing, who the hell is involved in that? And if they are missing, why we don't see enough? We still asking this racism to highlight what we need to be doing? How many times they gotta show you they don't care nothing about these girls? How many times they show you we don't care nothing about our boys? How many times we gotta do that? Well, we play woe is me when he's 18, we throw him away. How many times we gotta see that? Well, his daddy, his daddy, man, he got coaches, mentors, all kind of stuff out here to help with these boys. We don't invest. And after you get to a certain age, he got you. So you got to be in prevention. I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know. We doing it. We not asking for permission. I didn't get in the game to ask for. I didn't start coaching to ask for permission. You see, I didn't. That's not in my wheelhouse. If I gotta ask you for permission to prevent violence, if I gotta ask you for permission to prevent another fatherless child, if I gotta ask you for permission to make sure that the neighborhood and the community is protected, if I gotta ask you for permission, if you're talking anything other than prevention, I'm really not listening any damn way. Anyway, we love a Band-Aid, but you bleed through a Band-Aid. You can stitch it up and it'll heal properly. That's called prevention. We gonna stitch this up, baby. Right? We gonna put a little Mercurochrome. Remember Mercurochrome?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We gonna put a little salve on it. Right? We gonna let some air hit it. We gonna heal it up. Let's go. That's prevention. We're not gonna leave the womb open. Put the Band-Aid on it and then take 9-10 days for it to heal. Then you scratch it, it's bleeding again. And you scratch it, it's bleeding again, right? We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this with straight results. Like there are so many organizations, men-led organizations out here that has the results. And they make it so difficult because I really don't want to say this, but why is it so hard to invest in the boy? Why we have a hard time investing in our boys who could become a man, husband, and father. Then now we out here in the dating game, we talking tough to grown men. Right. It's like I said the other day, I said, y'all got the conversations wrong. The conversation that the deeds and things you was doing for your son, you was supposed to do for your man. The things that you was doing to your man, you was supposed to do for your son. The son is supposed to leave, the man is supposed to stay. It went opposite. The man left, the son stayed. Now he in the basement. Telling you what to do. And you scared of your own child. So you going and buying him cartridges and games, and how many cars you gonna do? I just heard a story about a young lady. The parents gave her everything. She's 35. She took her life. Died by suicide. All they asked her at 35 was to pay for her own car. Come on now. Well, you know, I tell the parents in the mentoring program, stop doing everything for these boys. You're doing everything for them. Stop doing everything for these kids. Stop rewarding negative behavior. Stop giving them things that they did not earn or have value or appreciate. Look in the room. The room ain't clean. Why give them something if the room ain't clean? The grades is bad. I'm talking to them babies and I'm like, how long you been here? Oh, I just moved into the neighborhood. Oh yeah, what's up? How long you been? How many absences you got? Here's where I nailed them at. How many absences you got? 15. You can't expect to build a workforce and you don't go to school. If you're not an everyday person, you can't expect to exceed, succeed, or win, because success requires you to be an everyday person. Regardless to if you win the bag, you got to go at it every day. Success requires that. So truancy is through the roof. Yeah, you can stay home. Now y'all homeschooling them. The boy don't want to move. I seen a boy the other day that was homeschooled. He barely moving. I'm like, how old is this boy? I couldn't take it. She like, oh, he's 16. He homeschooled now. Oh yeah? Where's his daddy? Because he ain't moving like he got a daddy in his life or a coach. Right? Well, you know, I had to take him out, you know, because this boy was 6'3" and a half. Wow. He walked away when I started talking, because people probably been talking and she ain't listening. So we gonna homeschool him. Nah, he a homeschool man, right? What's his chances of a successful relationship? Right? Cordially. He got to be in the system. He got to be in a Christian. He got to be at a church. He got to meet the girl at the church. He can't, you know, he got to be in the system, because he's not going to be able to go out here. That's why you see me so hard on Ra. You see, I be on Ra. Yeah, because you got to be able to walk out this door and handle your business. Don't no woman want no man sitting in her passenger seat with his drawers out. If that's the kind of man you got sitting in your car seat, you was failed at parenting. If you accept that. Get them boys out them passenger seats. I don't know, Monique. They may not be feeling me like that today. They might not be feeling me today. Hey, you don't know what you're talking about. They told me yesterday that it's a correlation. I said, that's your education, baby. Your response is only because you was educated in that field. Your actions is needed more than your response. Now, I understand you educated, so you the go-between. But how can you sit? Right? It's hard for me. But the Lord gonna give me my day. That moment. What I'm asking for. What's on paper. And we gonna bless a lot of boys. And a lot of families gonna get better. Because that is our service to the community. That's my service. You know, I ain't miss no windows. I'm still, doing for-profit stuff. I ain't miss no windows. But I'm about to turn up on that for-profit. I ain't got no choice, because where we at, they ain't, that vibe ain't there like that for these boys. I don't know. Everybody taking a hit with these males. I don't know. But I'm telling you, my last solution is right here. Right? and it's important. And again, you can hate me now. God got me, as my brother T-shirt line would say. God got me. You know what I mean? I got that swag. I stand with an awesome God. There's no question. So I might not have the Benz, Monique, but the Lord blessed me with a 4Runner, which was on my goal sheet. Yeah. I want my own empowerment center. It might not happen here. It might be another city. Just depend on what God got planned for me. But I'm gonna go at this every day. They gonna hear from me and these boys. What's the song? If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys getting it. Flat out. Why am I this way? Because the male is the seed carrier. And this devilish ass country has been attacking and attacking and attacking. And now it has help. Imagine the parents that have thrown and attacked their own children because it wasn't easy. So, as I said over at Southfield, as we close, when a father's involved from birth to 3, he never leaves his child. Even if the child isn't his, when the father's involved, he's in that child's life. When the father's involved, the child learns to speak correct English. Men, we don't baby talk unless you just do not understand who and what you're supposed to be. And you were raised in a feminine environment. Men, we speak to our children correctly. We don't baby talk. When a father's involved, the girl doesn't have her period early. Because when the father's not involved, the girl period comes anywhere from 3 to 5 years earlier. So when the father's involved, the girl doesn't have her period, her cycle early. My wife hates me to say period, so the cycle. When the father's involved, children are more confident. They're stronger mentally, physically, spiritually. When the father's involved, they're not weakly. Even if the child has autism or when the father's involved, the child is stronger. When the father's involved, the child has a higher self-esteem. Our children have been exposed to depravity. We have deprived our children of fatherhood, and the outcomes are astronomical in the crime and the drugs and the addictions. When the father's involved, the child is less likely to drop out of school. When the father's involved, the child succeeds 2 times as much as when the child and the father's not involved, which is why male mentors are so important. Male mentors, coaches, shout out to the men who get in these boys' lives and pour into them truly. You bums that sleep with their mamas, you need to cut that out and spend time and make sure that you do it the right way. Cut that out. When a father's involved, Monique, I know I'm on my time, but when a father's involved, right, and when a father's involved, the girl, right, has more self-esteem. So does that go to the boy? When the father's involved, the child, because 63% of all suicides come from fathers' homes. So when the father's involved, maybe 63% of the time is less likely a child to commit suicide. Healthy fatherhood is an answer. Men got to step up and learn how important it is to be a father. You can't blame your previous father for you being the same type of father. When the father's involved, our children, cognitive health is through the roof. ADHD is on the low side when the father's involved. When the father's involved, the child is less likely to be raped or raped as a raper is likely to become where a majority of the rapists come from. What? Fatherless home. Majority of the aggravated rapists come from what? Fatherless homes. So when a father's involved, the male is less likely to rape. That's not all cases, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do the correlation thing that they did on the other day. That's just, a correlation. You know what I mean? Which you can kiss my monkey ass. You hear me? When a father's involved, you hear me? When a father's involved, here's one for you in suicide. Children that lean on their faith are less likely to commit suicide. When a father's involved, come on. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's the gold one, and I shove this in your head. Now, fathers get symptoms. We call that kavads, right? Boys get Oedipus complex, fall in love with their mother at a young age. Some of them boys being raped by their mothers. Fathers raping their daughters. Oh, yeah. We got some problems out here, huh? But when the father's involved, this only goes to the daddy, Monique. This is what they miss. Fatherhood is God. This is what they miss. This is what God did for us all. When the father's involved, the child lives longer. When the father's involved with the child from birth to 9, they got it clocked at an age that the child lives longer. Y'all been killing children without fatherhood. And you think that you can continue this out of order. You cannot stop the violence until you restore a certain amount of order. And we are all responsible for what is happening and how it's going. If I'm a father, I need to govern everything, and we got to get out of these foolish pockets. Period. Now, Malachi 4:6, turning the hearts of the children to the father and turning the hearts of the father to the children. That's what I'm doing. Period. You can reach me at EMIWorld.com. Any father out there having a hard time seeing his kid, you can go to goodfathersonly.com. We are still in the parenting family restoration. My wife works with mothers. I work with fathers. We're doing this work. Emmy is happening, and I really appreciate you. Next Saturday, on the 29th at Focus Hope, we're having a party. If you want to network with some men, some dads and some women who are successful, you can come on, get at me for the ticket. Is $20. But more importantly, we're gonna keep driving this wig till we come together and understand we're not doing the gang thing. We're doing the family thing. Peace.